these people are clowns. So I got off the bus and they all start looking into the Wendy's. They had a Hispanic chick, a Hispanic woman again, looking into the Wendy's. Like, nope. No Wendy's. Even I was thinking about it, but again, that's what. See, and what they do is because again, they have you on the remote monitoring. So if you think about going to someplace, a restaurant or something like that, they will stage people in front of the establishment, right? In order to try to prevent you from going there. You know. What you think? Because they have, because I'm microchip and they can read my thoughts that I won't go where I need to go? Come on. We've been through this shit how many times? Like I said, you know, I don't just go through what I go through as a TI, but you know, I study what it is that they're doing, right? And again, this is how they try to, look at this shit. So she was over here, look at her, look, right? This perp, of course. She was over here waiting on the bus, and she saw me as I was walking across the street. She turns around, right? She turns her back to me, right? And I guess since I wasn't really paying her any attention, she comes across, you know, comes there, stand up right in the street, as you guys can see, right in the street, right? You guys saw that, right? Hopefully I showed this. So now look, now she's walking back. Like, what is she doing? Again, you know. Like, what are you doing? You know, like I said, they act so confused at times. You know. Now look. So she walks over at the bus to look at the bus license plate, and then she walks back over. Okay, all right. So I want you to understand how they operate, right? How they do subliminal message. Oh, she was waiting for a car. Is that the car she waiting for? Oh, okay. So you did. Oh, come on. You know, look at the ridiculousness, right? And again, a red car, right? So again, it is deliberate. So the color of the car over here, the red vehicle, and then he comes walking across the street in a red jacket, right? So this is what they engage in. This is what it is that they do, right? Now the car she's waiting on is right across the street, okay? But she walks all the way over here, look over here, then walk across the street, looking at the bus license plate now, and walk up over there to get into a red car. All right, now you start to see the color red showing up. Guy on the scooter. Look, red pants across the street. Damn, I'm good. Look, hold on, let me see. Because the light it's glaring, see? You wearing the red pants. Look at that. Oh yeah, I'm so good at spotting them, right? Exposing their psyops. So in that little space of time, her doing all of that, all you start to see is that a bunch of people wearing red, right? Or at least have a red item, you know. Whether it be a red jacket, red pants, red vehicle, guy with a red helmet, and I guess he was one of those food delivery person with the red thing in behind the scooter. You know, put the food in, right? So, yeah. What else? Oh, there was another person. Oh yeah, and the guy in the red. Yeah, that's the guy in the red pants, right? All in the space of that little couple of within a minute. Right, all in the space within a minute, right? You see, this is what they do. This is how they engage, and again, using color psychology, right? And dark NLP. Okay, I really need to do an in-depth video on that, on color. You hear the sirens? I said I really need to do an in-depth. Yeah, because again, they don't want their shit to be exposed, right? This is what it is. Again. You know, I tell you, when I listen to, when I talk about certain scholars, past and present, you know, there are those that I look at that teaches you everything, right? Teaches you not everything, but teaches you certain things that others don't. So, you know, you want to learn about the elites and how they conspires and continue to conspire to control society and people within the society, you know, the racists amongst them, the type of programs they implemented, what it is that they're doing, how they, particularly when it comes to black leadership, how they have decimated, you know, black leadership within America, right? And how they continue to manipulate us and continue to manipulate our women, because they understand that it is the, you know, they know our history, so they know black women are the standard. They know black women are the standard. When I say standard, I mean intellectually, I mean in terms of biologically, right? They are the standard. And when I say intellectually, I don't mean that, you know, like they're smarter than men, period. There are women that are smarter than men, right? Just like there are men that are smarter than women. What I'm saying is that they were, at one point in our history, black history, they were the teachers. They held all of the knowledge for the most part, right? And again, this is why in the story, in the biblical story of Adam and Eve, it is the woman who the creature, right? Because in you know who the creature gave the apple, gave the fruit to, right? The from the tree of knowledge, right? Now, why is that? Why is that so significant? Why is that so significant? It is to put the blame on the woman for the fall of man, right? But that is not true. How can you put the blame on women for the fall of man when it's the women who have raised up the man, or raised up the men, who were the keepers of the history, not only orally but also the scribes, right? So this is why in Kemetic spiritual system, the woman is the keeper of the knowledge, right? When you see on the Medu Neter, you know, the pharaoh being fed the Ankh, right? So the Ankh is life. It's the woman who gives life, not just in terms of bringing us into the, creating life inside her and bringing us into the world, as we call it, right? But also she give us the knowledge, right? The knowledge. She's the keeper of the knowledge. She's the scribe. That's why the Netta Shashet in the Kemetic spiritual system, right? So, and again, it is in ancient Kemetic culture, right? The king and the queen comes from, the pharaonic king and queen comes from the maternal line, not from the paternal line like Europeans. Like I said, everything that they've learned from us in Africa, our ancestors, they flipped the script on it, on its head, turn it backwards interpretation, right? And we end up believing it the most. We as black people, the ones who they took these stories from, recreated their own version, right? Because they couldn't really understand. Because, you know, and I think I'm beginning to, well, you know, I'm not going to even go that way, go say that, because I was about to say, you know, I'm saying what I was about to say for real. That, you know, I listen to certain people that talk about how white people have no spirituality, right? And what they see, what we call spirituality, but they do have spirituality. I'm sorry, a soul, not spirituality, a soul. They said that white people have no soul because they could not do what they have done throughout history if they had a soul, right? So they say they have no soul, okay? But that is not true. I mean, I think when they're talking, I think they're more speaking about their mentality, their mindset towards other groups of people, right? But you got to understand again how they were developed, because they were once black people, okay? Just as how, you know, black people fleeing from war during ancient time and migrated back into the inner horn of Africa, right, and settling into further south of Africa, which is actually north, right? I'm sorry, which is actually, yeah, actually north, right? Because the Europeans have turned, like I said, they flipped things upside down from the African way, because they the way how they think in ancient time was, a lot of it was the opposite of how African thought, right? So this is where you start to see, again, you have to be careful in terms of the words that we use, right? Because what they've done is have us using words that were not good, but somehow it became part of the language, as I talked about the word gentleman, right? So again, this is another thing, right? So there are other words, words like virgin, which never really meant women or men who never had sex. The word virgin meant an unmarried maiden, meaning that, yeah, she was unmarried, doesn't mean that she didn't have sex. Okay, she was a virgin. Okay, so she could have kids and not be married. They used to call her a virgin. Look, red bag, look across the street. A red jacket, look inside the thing, red. Right? Orchestrated. Okay. Anyhow, so yeah, so there are other words like the word Christ. Christ never meant. It just means anointed. So that means the high priestess back in ancient times, they were all considered Christ, right? Because they were anointed. They were the high priestess. They had the knowledge. They had the consciousness, right? So they were considered Christ until the European took it and said, you know what? We're going to create Jesus Christ. He is the Christ. You will no longer have the Christ anointed with the Christ consciousness or with a higher knowledge, right? With a higher love for a human being and a disdain for those in power who abuse their power and who subjugate people to cruelty, right? That you will take up arms and overthrow them. Okay, see, once you reach that Christ consciousness, that's what you think of, right? You think of the people who are in power, who are creating all this problem, who are profiting off of people, who are literally killing people there every day, like these pharmaceutical companies. What they've done, they're creating these drugs, the opioid crisis, all this stuff, right? When the people reach Christ consciousness, they will change their reality to benefit them. But as long as you believing in some Jesus Christ waiting to return, right, you're never going to look within you, right, to have a higher consciousness and be anointed with the Christ consciousness. And when you have the vast majority of people with that mindset, corporations will no longer do what they do to us. Okay? You must understand that. This is why they separate us, using race, using ideology, using religion. Okay? I mean, look, they're laying off thousands, tens of thousands of people, and their profits is in the hundreds of billions of dollars. They don't have to lay off people. They want to, because again, it is how they create dependency within the system. It is how they threaten those, us to go along with their agenda, whether it be the conservative or the Republicans. The Democrats or the conservatives are like, well, if you go woke, you go broke, and the liberals are like, well, we're going to co-opt the word woke. We're going to take that from you guys because, woke used to mean, having an understanding of who you are, as an African, your history, and teaching that, getting in tune with your African self, right? That's how we use the word woke, okay? But what they do, look, another threes, the red bag across the street, red car here. See how they start appearing in threes? Okay, right? Right. So anyway, and this is what they do, and now you see that these colleges are now, another red car, all right, are now pushing back on African studies. They're pushing back on African studies. Why? Because black people are learning their truth, their history. Okay? And they don't like that. They know that they can no longer fool us when it comes to our history, except for the religious indoctrinated. You know, they just co-opt any damn thing and talk about what, you know, it's a black, you know. I mean, listen, these people, you gotta understand, back in the ancient times, right, the world was populated mostly by black people, period. Okay? This is what they don't talk about, right? The founders of these of Greece, you know, Sumer, you know, Mesopotamia, black people. Okay? And again, you know, what we really have to do, I think, you know, I hope some black scholars will actually go and do the research on the whitewashing of some parts of the world, including Europe, right? And what happened, particularly in China and Asia, because we know there were black people that moved there, right? I mean, the Chinese admit it, right? The Japanese won't come out and say it, but you know, if you look at earlier painting throughout their history, there, you know, you had black Japanese people, and again, and they hide it, and they hide these things in private collections, right? They hide these things in private collections, you know. And I remember this guy from England, you know, this white guy, you know, he was like, oh, what the Africans were doing, and they were in the jungle, and the Europeans, we were living in castles. Yeah, castles built by black people and white people too, right? But you know, see how I didn't leave white people out of it? You know, black people invented the windmill. It wasn't white people. They had black noble people in England, France, and don't forget the Moors. The black Moors ruled southern Europe for 700 years, right? From the 700s to the 1400s. Okay, right? When Europeans were going through their dark ages, right? When you talk about the Renaissance happened because of the black Moors. Because when they were driven out of southern Europe, okay, what do you think white Europeans did? The elites, the kings, the queens, right? The church, the Catholic Church. What, right? They claim that they burned all the literature. That's a lie, right? Because we know the reason why you had the plagues in Europe is because of the church, because they forbade people to bathe, so people were living in filth. You see, that's the mental illness that they had. So imagine for 1,000 years you're living like that. Every generation living in filth, couldn't bathe because they'll tell you that, you know, being bathed you become so prideful and boastful, and that you believe that you're closer to God, right? And the church was the only the Pope was the only person that is anointed by God to be closer to Him on earth. Okay, that's the history they don't talk about. You hear the sirens? Yeah, go look it up. I'm not kidding. All right, we're gonna lift the veil off the lies. Okay, it's the church, and the church continue to play an integral part in the dumbing down of society because they, you know. But here's the thing, though. But the church also have scientists. They have archaeologists. They have chemists, biologists. Right? Because they create things and use these people for their own purpose, right? And a lot of it is not good. Okay, I'll tell you that. A lot of it is not good. Anyhow, that's my bus. I almost didn't see it. I know I saw it back down there. I was like, wait, how'd they get here so far already? Anyhow, go and do your research, man. Whether you're white, black, Asian, what have you, go and do your research. Okay? All right? You'll be better for it. Talk to you guys in the next video.